today I have yet another Halloween makeup tutorial. This one is a bronzed skull. I wanted to create a different skull to the very regular like black and white kind of skulls. I've created videos like that 1,000 times on my YouTube already. I'll have them linked all down below in case you're interested. But this one is a little bit more glam, it's a little bit more subtle, but I still really love the detail work in this and I feel like it's actually quite easy to achieve. This video is actually in collaboration with The Body Shop and I'm so excited to be working with them again. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that huge thumbs up just down below and also subscribe if you haven't already because I would love to have you here. Come and join the dinosaur family. I'll also link all of my Halloween series down below and also in the little eye so you guys can check those out. But without further ado, let's get on into the video. So I'm starting off this look with my base already finished and I'm just going to move straight into bronzing. So today I'm going to be using the honey bronzing powder from The Body Shop. I'm just applying that onto my cheekbones and my temples to really bronze up the face and add that definition back in there. I'm then reaching for my Body Shop contouring palette and I'm taking the blush shade and I'm just popping that onto my cheekbones for a nice flush of color. Next, I'm taking the bronzing shade from the same palette. This goes against any makeup techniques, but you kind of want to just leave a line of product on your cheek to really add that definition, and this is going to be the start of our skull. I'm then taking a smaller eyeshadow brush and I'm starting to really carve out the shape of my skull. So I'm using my cheekbone as a guideline to go along the curvature of it, and then I'm creating an opposite bend curling downwards to kind of go alongside the corner of my mouth. You want to repeat the same thing on the other side and then also move on to your temples. So for your temples, you essentially want to create a C shape and that's going to create the curve of the skull on your forehead. I'm then going in and adding a bit more detail into my brows. So I'm just creating a little bit of a frown, upturned brow kind of shape and also dragging that eyeshadow downwards into the sockets of my eyes. The next thing you want to do is start kind of carving out the shape of your nose, and I always say this, you can be as creative with this as you like. I'm then taking the gel velvet pen eyeliner and I'm just going to start outlining the shape of my nose with this, and then I'm going to take the Body Shop matte black kohl eyeliner as it is a little bit thicker and I'm going to use this to actually fill in the whole entire nose. Next, I'm going to move on to using the darkening shade adjusting drops, and I'm actually going to use this to kind of further outline the curvature of the skull. This is really going to add a lot of depth there and a lot of definition. So I'm just going along that very edge that we created with the bronzer and I'm just really sculpting that out and also fading this downwards into the rest of the bronzer. This product is really easy to blend, more so than a face paint would be, because this is actually meant for your foundation. You can actually use these drops to darken your foundation, but today I'm going to be using these as face paint because they are so pigmented and they work super well. Next, I'm returning back to that honeycomb bronzer and I'm just going to use this to further bronze out the cheekbones and just really blend everything together. I'm then taking the black gel pen liner again and I'm just going to carve out the edges of the skull even further, really adding a lot more depth there. I feel like the black really just helps to outline that shape even more. Moving on, next I'm going to be using the Down to Earth eye palette, and from this I'm going to be taking the MAC black shadow. Now with a very small blending brush, I'm going to apply this to the hollow of the skull that we've been working on this whole time. Adding a tiny bit of black in there really makes a difference, and as you can see, it's really just brought the top section of the skull forward, making it look as if it's a mask on my face. Now for the fun part, we're going to be using the matte kohl liner as a highlight of the skull. So I'm starting to go along the top edge of the skull, as you can see I'm doing here. So I'm starting off with the teeth and kind of curling it upwards into the cheekbones as well. And then I'm using this to create very thin pointy teeth. As you can see, the liner is so opaque, so it really works super well for this. And then I'm just using that liner to just go all over the skull, here and there, wherever I feel like it needs a little bit more lightness. Once I'm happy with all the shapes that I've created, I'm actually going to move on to the lower portion of the skull. So for this, I'm just basically creating a rounded rectangle, and that's going to be the hollow of the jaw. And then I'm just going to fill the edges of this with the brown darkening drops and really blend this out. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave the very middle of that hollow part to be quite skin tone. We don't want to pull that brown too far into the center. I'm then returning back to that black eyeshadow, and I'm just gonna go over the hollows of the cheeks, really just making sure that everything is nicely blended and also just creating even more depth at the front of the mouth. Next, I'm gonna take the lightening shade adjusting drops, and I'm just gonna go over the mouth portion and any of the highlights, just because this is a little bit more pigmented than the kohl liner. So we're gonna take advantage of that and really layer up the product. I feel like this works super well over the lips too, because it doesn't make them too dry. I'm then taking that white kohl liner once again and just going over the edges of the hollowed out part. And then I'm gonna take the shade light adjusting drops once again on a brush and start creating the teeth in the hollowed part sections. So for this, you just literally wanna create some really elongated triangles. And as I'm drawing these, I'm also patting the top edges of the teeth to kind of blend them in to the actual hollowed part. This is gonna add a lot more depth and definition, and I feel like this makes it look like the teeth are actually inside the mouth rather than on top. To fix anything up, I'm gonna return back to the darkening shade adjusting drops and just go between any of the teeth where we may have smudged the white a little bit. And as you can see, this just really gives the teeth a lot more shape. I'm also gonna go ahead and pull that brown into the teeth across my mouth, because I feel like they weren't as defined as they could have been. Moving on to the eyes, I'm gonna return back to that brown shadow from the contour palette, and I'm gonna use this as a transition shadow on my eyes. So I'm just popping that all over my lid and also dragging it quite far down onto my bottom lash line. And then I'm gonna take some of that black shadow and just pack that on with a big packing brush all over the lid and blend this out into kind of like a tapered shape. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm gonna go ahead and blend everything out so that there is no harsh edges. Then to finish off the eyes, we're gonna go ahead and add some lashes. Now for some last touches on the face, I'm returning back to that white kohl liner and I'm creating some highlight just below my brows. With this, I'm also gonna outline the shape of my nose and any of the hollow parts of my mouth, just to make the skull a little bit more visually interesting. Moving on to the forehead, I felt like this was a little bit of a plain spot, so I decided to create like a little bit of a centerpiece. So I created this cross design to really just fill that space up, and it doesn't really mean anything. I literally just made it up on the spot. You could put whatever you like on there. Now that the face is finished, we can move on to the neck part. So for this, I'm just creating rounded rectangles stacked on top of each other to create a spine. I'm drawing this on with the darkening shade adjusting drops. Once you're happy with the design, you can now go ahead and fill in the positive space. So what you want to do is just leave out the squares and just shade around them. I'm then returning back to that white kohl liner, and I'm just using that to fill in the rectangles of the spine. So this is the finished skull makeup tutorial. I absolutely love how this turned out. I feel like these contacts really complete the look, and it was just so easy to achieve. You can literally just recreate this with the products that you probably already own. I definitely rate this because it also didn't involve any face paint, and face paint can be sometimes a little bit annoying to wear throughout the whole night, and it really kind of wears off very quickly. So using the Body Shop shade adjusting drops for this was definitely helpful, just because I know that this is going to be so much longer wearing than a face paint. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of this look. Would you wear it? And if you do recreate it, make sure you tag me on my Instagram at Roxxsaurus. But that is all from me for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this look, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye! Mwah.